Welcome everyone to Side Draft, the show in which we review the NASCAR races side by side. And today we are reviewing the LS Tractor 200 Xfinity Series race from Phoenix Raceway. And I really enjoyed this race.
Yeah, it was a really exciting race. A lot of comers and goers, and wasn't really one car dominating. It's just a real fun race to watch.
Yeah, and we had Cup guys in this. Kyle Busch and Brad Keselowski was in there, and I guess you could put Ross Chastain in that equation, even though he's full-time Xfinity.
Yeah, he races every week,
everything.
Series and everything.
He's the all-time regular. That's his name. But Kyle Busch got the pole. Very expected, and going into this race, I thought, it was just going to ride away with it, ride off to the sunset, and we're just going to be talking about who finished the second. But Austin Cindric on that restart or initial start took the lead from Kyle Busch on the outside. Maybe that was because of Kyle Busch choosing the inside instead of the outside, but
possibility. I mean, a lot of times they like to use the down the apron. They kind of get a little run off. I think it's what he was planning on. But Austin Cindric, he had a really awesome car up on the top, really took off and did a really great job. I mean, I like his potential he's got this year. I mean, he's really showing his really talent.
And Kyle Busch would eventually catch up to Cindric, but it would be around 20 laps or so.
Yeah, and it wouldn't drive away either. I mean, he's staying right there with him. So.
Yeah, and then we would have a caution for Ray Black Jr., and that would happen before Cindric could get around Kyle Busch, and so had a lot of cautions in this race, probably a little bit more than, for Justin Allgaier, it didn't happen when
he wanted to.
No. But then it would be Kyle Busch versus Ross Chastain on the restart, and it would be Justin Allgaier taking the lead to win Stage 1.
Yes, and I had him picked to win, but he had an awesome car, and I believe he had the really best car, really showing some real strengths, and I mean, he really runs good here at Phoenix, and man, I just wish he could have got it.
Yeah, it's just Junior Motorsports looked super good for most of that race. And then all of a sudden it all fell apart. And then Joe Gibbs shows up.
Yep.
But Stage 2, Brad Keselowski tries something here, tries to stay out. I don't think it quite worked for him like he wanted to.
Yeah, I believe he got tires. He pitted earlier in the first caution. So he tried to stay out here and see how it worked, and it just didn't pan out for him.
And so Justin Allgaier would eventually take the lead. And this would be the part where he just cruised, really.
Yep, pretty much checked out.
And then Kyle Busch would eventually take the lead from Justin Allgaier, but it was later on in the run.
Yeah, it really took Kyle Busch a lot of tries to get around him. Allgaier just had the good run off and position on that high line just to keep him from passing him. I mean, he just did a really good job against these Cup guys.
And Justin Allgaier, he would reel him in. It seems like Allgaier had a really good longer run car, and Kyle had a good longish.
Yeah, Kyle, he was really battling with some issues with some handling. I believe that he either go loose or tight, and just really couldn't get the back end really stick into the track.
And then the 15 of Howard, he would get into the wall, hard crash, got up in that sweet and sour sauce.
Sweet and sour sauce.
Yes, it's either sweet or sour.
Yeah.
It was sour for him, into the wall, hard crash, and they didn't throw the caution for a little while, and he was like just sitting there.
I was kind of, I know they want to wait and throw these cautions, but man, you got a ton of guys coming full speed ahead, and awesome driving by all the drivers. I mean, to miss him right there is pretty cool. And
then next restart, Ross Chastain would be in the lead. Because some drivers would pit and some would stay out. Ross decided to stay out, but Ross had some power steering issues, or some sort of smoke was coming from the car on this restart, and it would be Noah Gragson getting the lead on that last lap and win Stage 2. And Gragson was one of those guys I thought he would have a good run, but not necessarily win a stage. So pretty impressive driving.
Yeah, he used the fresh tires to really jump up there, and it's a really good driving by him and him to get the stage win. So Junior Motorsports just dominate the stages, but they just didn't get the win.
Yeah, and then Noah Gragson versus Chase Briscoe. Gragson would take the lead, and I thought maybe Kyle Busch would get around it, but Gragson held his own pretty well there. up until Justin Allgaier got around Kyle Busch, and then Allgaier would eventually get around Gregson, and off and away Allgaier goes.
Yeah, I mean, he had a really dominant car. I'm kind of glad I picked him, but
you picked the right car, just not the right luck.
Right look. Yeah, he needs to write a book, 101 Ways How to Lose a Race.
Yeah.
I mean, because his luck. I mean, he's got some really fast cars. He runs good. He just can't finish his races off sometime. I mean, it's probably nerve-wracking to him, but I just like to see him get better luck.
But the good news for him, even though he didn't get the win today, this is where the championship will be. This is where they're going to be settled here later on in the season. And Allgaier knows I had the best car today. I may not have got a trophy to show for it, but I had the best car. And all I needed to do is just get in that Final Four.
Yeah, now they got to know what to do to finish the race here at the end of the season for the championship, and I believe he'll be looking good.
So after Allgaier would take the lead, would have a caution for the 47, Joe Nemechek, and that would be where Allgaier made a decision that, it could have won him the race if the right cautions came out, but they just didn't come out the way that he needed them to. He decided to stay out on the older tires, so maybe later in the race he can get newer tires and just be a superhero. Yeah. We saw this work out at Iowa last year for Chase Briscoe. Worked out great, but
sometimes you can't bet on cautions. I mean, you might get a caution with 5-10 laps to go, but usually sometimes you don't. So it's just the way it falls, and that's what you just have to live by.
Yeah, normally when it doesn't work out, it's because we didn't get a caution. In this case, there were too many cautions in a short amount of time, because the first one, it would be with Brandon Brown and Dylan Bassett. Yes. And that would be what the fight was over, and that was...
Yeah, it was a very tough deal. I mean, Brandon Brown, if he drove the corner too hard and got into Bassett and pushed him up in the wall. I mean, it's a little aggressive driving. I don't know. It was just racing. Yeah,
it's a racing deal. Not saying don't be mad you got wrecked, but, it was just a racing deal. I don't think it should carry over, but, he had a good reason to be mad. And
yeah, because Bassett, he was running really great. I mean, he's running the best he has been, and I was really like seeing that. And I was wanting to see him finish well, and Brown didn't want him to.
Yeah, and he actually followed us on Twitter earlier today, so it was like, let's keep an eye on him, and he ran pretty well up until that moment.
Yeah, it's good to see. He's got passion for the sport, and somebody, if he thinks somebody done him wrong, just go tell him.
Yeah, and then it would be Jones versus Busch, and we would have another caution, not even a lap in, and that would be for Daniel Hemrick, Keselowski, and Ray Black Jr. and Joe Graf Jr. And I don't know really what happened there. I think maybe the higher line was just kind of dirty up there, and everybody was slipping and sliding, and when they're slipping and sliding, you can't stop, and Hemrick got into Keselowski and
tried not to get him too bad and tried to save it, but he just kind of lost it and just bounced off a couple other cars. So.
Yeah, just a rough start for Daniel Hemrick so far. It looked like he was going to have a good run in Vegas and accidentally spun out, and then Auto Club, he had a solid run, but not necessarily the fastest car out there. And then again today, not the fastest car, but could have had a decent run. So we'll see how that translates for the rest of the season, if he'll finally get that win. Hope he does.
Yes, I mean, I think he will. He's just got to get used to these cars again.
Yeah.
From the Cup cars, they drive totally different. And it's very tough when you're on a limited schedule anyway. So, I believe he'll do fine once he just gets running his rhythm.
Yeah, and I think his best shot is going to be Richmond. That's normally where he runs the best. And I think he's going to have 2 shots at it anyway, so I think that's the one to look out for Hemrick at. But after this, there would be no more cautions, and that's what Allgaier needed, is cautions.
Yeah, I believe Allgaier should have at least went ahead and got his last set of tires. I mean, I know he pitted for fuel, but he should have got the last set of tires.
Yeah, I still think he wouldn't have won, Probably would have made his way up to the top 5 maybe, but not, he still would have needed that caution.
Yeah, I mean, really, clean air is key, and once he got clean air, he usually took off, but he just got marred back in traffic, and the old tires he couldn't get nowhere.
Still did very well with the old tires, so maybe he could have done a little bit better than top 5, maybe top 3. Yeah. Who knows? But other than this, it looked like Kyle Busch was going to check out, and I was going to get the point. He was my pick in Fast Picks this week, and then Brandon Jones, just stayed low all day. No one really, he was in the back, not in the back half of the top 10, maybe top 5 once in a while.
Yeah, I think you saw the cookie and cream Twix on Kyle Busch's car. I'm hungry. I'm going to get some.
Yeah, he got hungry and went after it and got him a Twix.
Yeah, I mean, he just ran that car down. I was like, hey, I just passed him now.
And, this is a defining moment for Brandon Jones. 500th win for Gibbs across all the series in NASCAR. And, a lot of people have downplayed Brandon Jones, but he beat Kyle Busch.
Yeah.
Not because of, strategy or anything. This was just, straight up outwilling Kyle Busch. And I guess you could say Brad Keselowski as well. So, very defining moment, and possibly this could be his way into the Cup Series.
Yeah. So, I know it's very tough comparing the cars. I know this is the extra car, and Brad had an extra car too. They don't use the run, but it's still the same motors and everything else. So, but
yeah,
I think Brandon Jones. I mean, he runs very well. I mean, week in, week out. He did real good last year. Had some bad luck, but I believe we're finally getting that luck off this year. And we finished second last week.
Well, he got in a crash last week.
Yeah.
He was running very strong last week as well. And Harrison Burton finishing second. And, first and second past couple of weeks. I think maybe everybody needs to rethink their big 3. We could have Brandon Jones and Harrison Burton in that mix.
Possibility. I mean, there's some big 3s. I think there's like a big 5 out there now.
It could be a big 10 by the time we're done with this.
There's some good talent out there. Just a lot of them has some good luck. So.
Yeah, but overall, congratulations to Brandon Jones and Joe Gibbs Racing. 1, 2, 3 finish. I believe Riley Herbst got into the wall, so they couldn't make it 1, 2, 3, 4. But they've shown some speed. We thought maybe with Christopher Bell being gone, that maybe they would take a step back, and some of the other teams would step up, but it seemed to be right where they left off.
Yeah, and I really enjoyed listening to Joey Logano and Clint Boyer up in the booth talking on the TV, and they're bringing a whole lot to the broadcast, and I just want to say thanks to them.
Yeah,
I really enjoyed hearing them.
Yeah, probably the best lineup that I've ever heard on the broadcast. It was just really informative, and also had some funny moments as well, and funny banter.
Joey want to talk about the awesome sauce.
Yeah.
So we call it our sweet and sour sauce.
It's the sweet and sour sauce now. So thanks, Joey, for the idea to call it that. Just overall, I enjoyed that race. Maybe stage 3 could have been a little bit better with some cautions, but it was still pretty good.
Yeah, I think NASCAR brought a good thing here to Phoenix, and putting the PJ1 down, trying to get some traction. I know sometimes it was slick and they get in the wall, but I believe, it's just a great series to watch right here, and it's fun to watch today, and I just enjoyed it myself.
Yeah, and can't wait for the Cup race, because we got the smaller spoilers, or I guess you could call them blades now, and they're actually driving. So it's going to be fun to watch these drivers drive. Yeah. I haven't got to see them do that in quite a long time, so it's going to be fun. So if you want to see our picks for tomorrow's Cup race, click the video that is, I don't know if it's,
point at me.
Is it here or here? It's probably up here, maybe. Yeah, it's right here. So
you don't remember where you put it?
I don't know where I put it. We changed the setup because our camera battery died, so we had to do this setup. So normally, it should be up there. So anyways, hope you all enjoyed this review, and we'll see you for our Cup Series review tomorrow. Can't wait for it. See you there.